So timpani is a different monster than keyboard and snare drum. It has its own unique properties. I call timpani a ringing monster. As you hit a timpani in the correct hit spot, as you can hear, it rings for a long time. So when you get further back in the audience or to a judge, the challenge with timpani is hearing the articulation of the instrument. What does that mean, articulation? That means the front of the note. If I were not articulating my words, then I was just kind of mumbling everything. You really couldn't tell what I was trying to say. So likewise, on timpani, we need to be aware of the front of the note is going to be hard to reach. So we have to be careful about the mallets we select. We don't want to select mallets that are too soft, unless that's what the piece calls for. So I'm going for more of a medium mallet, Innovative Percussion BT5s. On timpani, I like to employ the piston stroke. The piston stroke is a quick stroke. I set the height. Let's say I want to play forte. I'm up here about 45 degrees. I'm going to quickly strike and come right back up. Now again, even if I'm playing down low, I'm still going to have my hands up, not flat, never flat, a little bit up. And I still have that quick pop. Okay, so even though it's low, doesn't mean we change how aggressive our stroke is. Again, we're fighting for articulation. Now, sometimes on 16th notes or very fast rhythms where it's really hard to hear the difference between 16th notes and a roll, I might move a little bit further into the head just to cheat a little bit and get a little bit of that drier sound. You hear as I go further in, just a little bit, you can hear more articulation. So that's something I might do. If I have a passage that's very active, I might use that to cheat a little bit if it's not enough articulation. So you have German grip, you have American grip, and then you have French grip. Now all of them, your beads are going to be together because that's going to give you even more articulation. Okay? If I separate my hands, you'll hear becomes a little washier when your hands are not together. But basically keep your beats together. That's your best hit spots for articulation. Whether you're using American, German, or French, I would suggest you using piston. So even if I'm doing German, American, French. With German and American grip, it's similar to your snare drum grip, which your instructor will teach you specifics on. Now, French grip is pretty different as well, but I like to explore it because let's learn as much as possible, right? So French grip, the reason why I like French grip on timpani is because I think it's the most conducive stroke for piston stroking and lifting and having that upward mentality on timpani. What's a little bit different from this is it actually does require a little bit of firmness in the front of your hand. So let's kind of go over it from the beginning. First of all, I like to choke back all the way when I'm playing timpani. Okay, I don't usually on snare drum you're up 1/3 and you have a little bit of slack in the back. On French grip, I like to have no slack in the back. That's just personal preference for me. I feel like I get more weight of the stick because I'm further back. Next thing, I'm not going to really use my pinky and ring finger that much because that's going to be used for more of controlled strokes and downstrokes. It is very rare to downstroke on timpani. That's going to affect the sound. It's going to create an extra nodal point where it'll change the pitch of the drum and make you sound amateur. We don't want to do that. Everything comes up. So I feel like the fingers, especially with middle school students, will cause you to grab the stick and downstroke. So I like to have a passive pinky and ring finger, which means I'm going to have an active front fulcrum in my first, middle, and thumb. So I like to pinch my thumb first and middle. So I kind of create a triangle. So as you can see, I have this triangle of power. I have my thumb pointing straight up the stick, and then I put my index and middle finger kind of right in the middle. Now, my ring finger and pinky are actually not really touching the stick because I don't want them to grab. So I kind of get them out of the way. So I have more of a spring action in my fingers. Okay, now I do set some tension in my thumb because on timpani it's a little more aggressive of a stroke to get that articulation. Okay, so if I were to come up to you and you were set about 45 degrees and I were to pull, if I let go, it would spring back up. So you have this default athletic position always, and then you stroke and it comes back up almost automatically. Besides setting the tension, and my first, middle, and thumb, everything's pretty much coming from my wrist. Now the way I think about this is imagine a Rubik's Cube. Let's pretend like I'm rotating a Rubik's Cube on its side. That's the motion I'm going for when striking the timpani. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what I'm going for. Quick rotation. Now obviously when I roll, I really don't feel like, just like French grip is very good for piston stroke, then that means it's not great for legato. So if I go to a roll, I like to spread my hands, of course, but then I also kind of go to an American grip for a roll, because I kind of switch from French to American as I move my hit spots for a roll. And that way I can access my fingers and use them for the roll, because I want to use my fingers for a legato stroke. Okay, so that's a little bit, I'm kind of a switch hitter when in the middle of playing. So of course you can do rolls with French grip and still access your fingers. I just feel like for middle schoolers, we can have a duality of piston stroke, French grip, and then rolls at a legato American grip and use our fingers and rebound.